Which financial statement will provide the following equation? Asset is equal to liability plus equity. So we have to know which statement will give. Whether income statement would give that. What does the income statement would give? Basically, income statement is nothing but P&L, and it is going to give your incomes and expenses, finally whether profit or loss. So this is what income statement is going to do. So income statement is not the answer. What about balance sheet? Yeah, balance sheet would give, I'll have it here. Balance sheet would give your assets, your liability. When we say liability, the owner's liability plus outside liability. So the balance sheet would give what is asset and how it is funded, that is through owner's funds and through outside funds. So asset is equal to owner's fund, which we call as equity, and outside funds, which is called as liabilities. So now we have the answer as to which statement gives. It is basically the balance sheet. Balance sheet would tell us asset is equal to liability plus equity. And fund flow statement is just going to talk about the movement. So it is not the answer. And cash flow statement would talk about the movement of cash. Fund flow statement would talk about the movement of funds, whereas cash flow statement would talk about the movement of cash. So the right answer is B, which is balance sheet. Next question. Which of the following contains balances of all ledger accounts? Whether this voucher will contain the balance of all ledger? Answer is no, because voucher is a document which is used to record the financial transaction. It will not have balances of all ledgers. Fine. What about the journal? Journal is also no, because journal would just pass accounting entry. It would pass accounting entry from vouchers. Fine. So journal will not give ledger account balances. What about ledger? It is contradicting to the question, because question is asking about the ledger account balances. So ledger is not going to give that. So what is this? Trial balance. So trial balance takes its values from balances of all ledgers. So balances of all ledgers only goes into trial balance. So answer is D. Which of the following contain balance of all ledger accounts is trial balance? Next question. Dash show the financial performance and financial position of an entity. Is it income statement? Income statement would show only the performance. Is it balance sheet? Balance sheet would show only the financial position. Is it income statement and balance sheet? Yes, it is showing both performance and financial position. So answer is C. We need not even look at the none of the above. Answer is C, because income statement would talk about the performance and balance sheet would talk about the financial position. So answer is C. Next question. If the liability account increases, the increase will be entered on dash side. Is it going to be on the debit side or on the credit side, or both the above or none of the above? Answer cannot be none of the above, because if there is an account, it has to be entered on the either debit side or on the credit side. And it cannot be both the above, because for a single transaction you cannot debit and credit the same account. So if the liability is increasing, the increase will be entered on what? See, understand, liability by its very nature, it will always have a credit balance. So if you want to increase the liability further and further, you should keep on be crediting. So if we want to increase the liability account, we should credit the liability account, and if we want to decrease the liability, we should debit the liability account. Here the question is, the increase will be entered on which side? Increase will be entered on credit side. So the answer is credit side, and we need not look on the debit side. Next question. Expenses and losses are debited due to, here we have 4 options: real, personal, nominal, and none of this. So there are 3 classifications of accounts, and each classification says debit something and credit something. What does a real account says? A real account would say debit what comes in and credit what goes out. And what does this personal account says? Personal account says debit the receiver of benefit and credit the giver of benefit. And what does the nominal account says? Nominal account says debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. And what is our question? Expenses and losses are debited due to now we have the answer, it is due to nominal account because it says debit all expenses and losses. So the answer is C. Salary paid to employees is credited to, is it salary account, is it employee account, is it cash account or salary payable account? Imagine the transaction when the salary is paid, what happens? When the salary is paid, what happens? Salary is an expense, right? So expense should be debited. Salary being an expense, it should be debited. Salary account debit. So when we pay salary, what happens is the company has to give cash. Cash is an asset. When it is coming in, it will be debited, but when it is going out, it will be credited. So to cash account credit. And what is the amount? The amount is not available, but salary account is debited and cash account is credited. And what is the question? Salary paid to employees is credited to what account? Here we have credited it to cash account. So we need not look at A, B and D. Answer is C. Salary paid to employee should be credited to cash account.